and take a look at creating a camera for this room. We can go to the drop down here in the quick access toolbar and pick camera. Another place would be to go to the view tab. Under 3D view, we could pick camera. And then where you place the camera is where you're standing, pulling my mouse away from that point to establish a target. A new view is created. You can use these small grips to crop the image. Go to the View tab. If you pick Tile, you'll see all of the views that you have open. We're going to close all of the views except for the second floor plan and this camera view. Then you can pick Tile again to have them side by side. When I pick the camera frame, I can see the camera in the plan. So now I can adjust either the camera by dragging it back a little bit further. In the perspective view, I can pick the steering wheel and use some of these tools that are in the inside circle, like moving the view up and down. If I hold my left mouse button down, I can go up, top, and bottom. Or when you hold your left mouse button down where it says look, you can look around in that camera view. You can walk towards the window and back away from the window, changing here the view to adjust what you actually see in the camera. I'll close out of the steering wheel, and now in the plan we'll move this table and then start bringing other pieces of furniture and lights into this room. We'll load the families that we want to use by going to the Insert tab and picking Load Families. Let's go to the Furniture folder and we'll bring the chair Corbu in and then highlight Shelving and pick Open. We also will pick the Load Family icon and go to Lighting Fixtures. There are so many to choose from. I'll go ahead and pick a floor lamp that's a stand-up floor lamp and a pendant light linear 1 lamp. Go ahead and pick Open. I also posted a flower family that you can load. You can pick Load Family and navigate over to the folder that you downloaded it in from Blackboard. Now we can go to the Home tab and under Component, pick Place a Component. In Properties, you'll see that flower that you just loaded. You can then change the offset to 1 foot 4 inches, which will be the top of this table. In the floor plan, we can place it on the table. We'll be able to see it in the rendering. Use your escape key or click Modify to clear it. You can select the flower and use your arrows on the keyboard to move it over if you'd like to try to center it a little bit better in the table. Then continue with other components. I added the shelves and a lamp, the floor lamp, and the Corbu chairs. Now we're ready to place the ceiling light. We can go to the ceiling plan for the second floor and then go to Component and place a component find the loaded pendant lamp. Here we'll use the 96H 120 volt and place it in your room. I can then move it back a little bit further so that it can illuminate the bookshelf. Closing out of the ceiling plan, and in the second floor plan, I'm going to create a section in the View tab so that I can see this wall. Then double click on the section mark, and if you'd like, you can use these grip handles to crop your view to the second floor. You can then see here the light fixtures and the shelves. We're going to add a decal. If we go to the Insert tab, we can load an image into our file and then use it as a painting. We can go to Insert Decal Types. In the bottom left corner, pick Create New Decal. Give that decal a name. I'll call it Photo 1 and pick OK. It's your choice what photo you use. Go ahead and use your own. Continue to pick Create New Decal and then name your photos 1, 2, and 3, and go ahead and use your own photos and pick OK. And then here in the section we can pick Decal and Place Decal. In the properties you can decide on your photo 1, 2, and 3, and in the options bar you can change the width and the height. Using realistic shading at the bottom left corner will give you an idea of what your decals look like. Once you have them in place, you can close out of the section view. You'll see the boxes that are represented here on the wall for those pictures. And maximize the perspective view and take a look at rendering. In the bottom left corner of your screen you'll see a little teapot icon. Go ahead and pick that. We're going to use some of the defaults like the draft for the quality for now and the screen resolution. But let's change the lighting. Instead of using exterior sun only, the first rendering we'll look at is interior artificial only. We'll take a better look at the interior lights. Let's go ahead and pick render, and during the rendering I'll pause the video. We're using draft to create quick renderings that we can take a look at, but the final rendering would be of better quality. If I pick artificial lights, you'll see check marks in all the different lighting sources. If you take the check mark out of the floor lamp and re-render, you'll see that the floor lamp is turned off. If we use the sun only and we change the sun setting to still for September 25th at 10 o'clock in the morning, then we'll see the sunlight coming in, but the room becomes very dark. But even with the sun only at 10 o'clock, you can pick Adjust Exposure and adjust the settings for the brighter and darker exposure, highlights, midtones, and even the white point, which gives it a little bit warmer look. Each time you change the settings, pick Apply to update the rendering. Saturation will bring out the colors a little bit more. If I go back to reset the defaults and pick Apply, the room is actually darker, giving us the option of using exposure controls to highlight the lighting in the room. If we reset the defaults for the exposure control and then change the sun setting from 10 o'clock a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. and render the view, you'll see that the room has more sun exposure. Under background style, if you go to the bottom and pick image, you can pick the image button and bring in an image for your background. You can maintain the original size or stretch it out so that it looks more like a window opening. You can even adjust the width and the height. This is an interior rendering, but the same thing applies to a building rendering if you'd like to show trees and sky in the background. There are so many different materials that you can change in this room, but for now let's go ahead and close out of the render dialog box and go to the second floor plan, and we'll change the floor. Rest your pointer close to the inside of the exterior wall and use your tab key until you tab to the floor. You can then left click, and in properties you'll see that you have the floor selected. You can pick edit type, and go back to our rendering. You can use Control Tab to cycle through your views, and let's render our perspective. This is a draft view. I selected an image. I changed the time to about 8 o'clock in the morning to get a little bit of sun shining in through the trees and maintain my artificial lights. Go ahead and decide on your image and your material for your floor, and then render your view with a medium rendering quality. Once your view renders with your settings, you can pick Save to Project and call this Interior Rendering. When you pick OK, you'll notice that that rendering is in the project browser along with your abstract rendering. And close out of rendering. Let's rename this 3D view 3D Interior Perspective. Here by the 3D view icon under the camera, you'll see walkthrough. The offset is 5'6". We're creating a walkthrough on the second floor. As you pick points, you're establishing where the camera view is. You can turn corners, and when you're done, pick Finish Walkthrough. If you right click, you can go to the walkthrough view, or if you clicked in your screen and no longer have the path, you can highlight Walkthrough 1 in the project browser, right click and pick Show Camera, and then here right click and pick Go to View, or just double click on Walkthrough 1 in the project browser. In this camera view, we're going to change the crop, but notice that it's at the end. So we'll need to edit the walkthrough and go back to the first frame in the options bar. We can go back to the Edit Walkthrough Contextual tab and pick Play. Use your Escape key to interrupt the operation, and then in Properties, under Other, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see Walkthrough. You can pick this button that says 300 and see the default speed for each one of these frames. In this dialog box, you can change the information for your walkthrough to change the speed, changing the frames per second. The walkthrough doesn't appear to be very smooth, but if you increase the frames per second, your animation will be shorter in length. So you can increase the total frames to something higher, like 600, increase the frames per second to 30. You can highlight the frame and pick Edit Walkthrough and pick Play. You have a choice in the application menu of exporting this walkthrough here as an AVI file.